All right, we are on the road to Smash Wrestling here with the Backlash podcast. The date's Sunday, March 25th. We're recording for the 27th, but I'm not alone. Well, Scott's not in the car with me, but he's in the car with me. How's it going, Scott?
I am here. It is going. I am sick. That is why we are not doing this live together, so I don't give you my germs. It's been a pretty crazy week at my house.
Oh, yeah.
As of 7 days ago, my daughter was born, so there was a 7-year-old in the house, and everyone except her has gotten this awful cold that's going around. So she's actually been the easiest person to care for in the last week.
Well, at least you were able to make an appearance at our small round robin event yesterday, and your son won the random Austin signature card.
Yes. He was very happy with that.
Yeah, just don't tell him it's not Stone Cold. It's just the guy working at the shop named Austin.
The guy that works at the shop. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, this is an interesting setup. I hope the audio transfers well, but it's fun. I got Sarah here doing the recording for us. I appreciate it, Sarah. So Scott, let's hit up around the web. The idea here is focus on Lackey a little bit more. Big tournaments. They always have a tournament going on, it seems, eh?
Yeah. I think they mentioned that they're going to try and sticky a tournament thread on TCO so that there's something always going on and it's always at the top of mind for people. So that's a good idea.
Yeah, and it's funny, they cut to a top 6 because 2 guys weren't able to play any games. So yeah. I don't know how they're going to do that. Maybe some like buy rounds, or whoever wins maybe like the one of the games automatically goes to the finals.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's on there. Oh, go ahead.
Maybe they'll do a fan vote like the mixed match challenge. Someone will get a second chance and they'll get the top 4.
Yeah, let's get Crasher back up there. I downloaded Lackey for the iPad. Unfortunately, though, with how Raw Deal does the files, it's not like a .txt kind of auto download where you have to manually drag and drop things into the files. So I haven't dug into like iExplorer or any of those kind of backdoor file moving programs for the iPad. But I mean, if I have to do all that on the iPad, I might as well do it on a laptop. But I just like the idea of being able to play some Raw Deal on the couch against other people preparing for these more competitive tournaments that are coming down the highway for us.
Yeah, and was there a cost for the iPad version?
It was
Lackey?
It was $8.50, but there's so many games that are supported on it. Like you could play like any board game as long as they did some development for it. But with the cost on it, I don't want to give up because it's free on PC. So it was a gift card we found when we were organizing some stuff. So it doesn't feel like too lost of a cost.
Yeah. So last Saturday, basically, you guys played it's not really around the web. I'm diverting now, but you guys had an open. We'll scrap that for a minute. Back to around the web. Discord has been pretty popular again because, I guess you've been driving the conversation a little bit there with your new Nexus deck that you've been working on.
Yeah.
And just asking people for their feedback and their ideas. And, like, that's something that I really miss about this game, is that I haven't done that in a very long time. Usually I just build a deck in my office, bring it to a tournament, see how it does, and then take it apart. Rarely will we have, like, ask for feedback and do stuff like that, but since we're now kind of gearing up towards June in Illinois, or Iowa, wherever it is, that I-state, we're kind of helping each other fine-tune our decks a little bit more, which is neat, because it brings in that community feel that everyone's pitching in and helping everyone be better players. So I missed that about the game, but I'm glad that it's coming back. And just like Discord makes it so much easier, right? Because it's a chat function more than the forum part of Team Canada Online. So
yeah, you get that kind of instant replies, the instant gratification. It's more kind of open-ended to like just free-flowing conversations, and there's a lot of people on there. I mean, when it comes to the Team Canada online Discord, you're going to have some players not going on there just because they've had poor experiences over the years with the message board. So this is the one that I had started up. It's a good alternative for it. So you're going to get some Chilean and Singapore players. But the TCO one, I mean, you look on the sidebar and there's always like 15 people online at least, and there's been an influx of new players going in. I mean, I'm not surprised, but it's surreal that like this podcast. I've talked to a few people where they're like, "Oh yeah, I heard there's a Raw Deal podcast, and that's making me want to dig out my cards." And then like with the proxy availability through the pro boards, they have access to whatever they want to print and play if they can't find their own stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty cool feeling.
Yeah, so, and it's great to see like because I mean I don't know what the end goal is with this game. I mean, because it's still being supported, but I mean, like with anything, like the virtual is going to come to an end. Who knows? It could be a year from now. It could be another 20 years from now. But I mean, with the growing community or regrowing community and the growing support of like a positive atmosphere, this game could come back with WWE support and maybe with online, like the mobile apps, or even like a card game, like more like a living card game where. Like the Versus system that came out, or Android Netrunner, Game of Thrones, and there's another one, L5R, Legend of the Five Rings. Yeah. That was dead for like at least 5 years, and because of the community still continuing to play and support the game after its death, the license was bought up, and now it's back. So yeah,
anything can happen.
That's right, and it's wrestling. Anything can happen in the WWE.
Yeah, never say never. Daniel Bryan's gonna wrestle again. So
yeah, do you see the power bomb he took?
No, I haven't watched wrestling in a little bit.
Man, they beat him up pretty good for his first night back being cleared. It's like, wow, they did a lot. But
I was laughing because I was listening to the Edge and Christian podcast, and they were talking to the bar, which is a very entertaining episode, and. Edge was like, you know who you should feud with? You guys should have a match with the Revival. And Christian's like, didn't you just watch Raw? They literally just fought them like 2 days ago. That was pretty funny.
Well, it sounds like they keep up with it as much as I do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, like Discord's really good. Lackey, I might even just do Lackey for the card database, because like you can search by like text on the card. For that, so I mean that looks to be worth it alone, because it doesn't seem the most new user friendly to play games, because you have to manually do everything.
Yeah.
I know Chile, they're working on Tabletop Simulator, doing a whole Raw Deal thing. I don't know if you saw it, Scott, on one of the Facebook pages.
Yeah, I think I did. It was a few weeks ago now that I saw it.
Yeah, that looks really sharp. So hopefully that can get going. I know I've been talking with the I don't know his role in it. I think he's like the main guy, the one developing Raw Deal TV. It's not like a Raw Deal TV service. It's the name of just what they're making out there. I know they have a YouTube channel. They're the same guys that had Xavier Woods and Al Snow play some Raw Deal.
Yeah.
And he's affiliated, I believe, with the Tabletop Simulator, and he's got a few other things coming up that I'm sure I'll get an angry Facebook message if I talk about it.
So we'll wait and see.
Wait and see. But yeah, let's move on to the tournament report. I mean, this is where we normally interview the winner. But Scott, you want to interview the winner?
Sure, I'll interview the winner. You were the winner, right?
Yes, I was the winner.
Our social media guy posted to Twitter that we had a new Raw Deal, period, and forgot the word winner or champ or whatever, so...
No, it's a new Raw Deal that the old champ got because he wasn't able to retain.
Yeah. So, why don't you tell us your experience for the day? Who did you play and who did you play against?
Okay, I ran the new Nexus. I played 2 games with it previously and a little bit of a play testing day. They're not very nice to play against, from what I've been told, with some colorful language as well. They're a 5-5. Like, this is the Nexus with like CM Punk, Michael McGillicuddy, Bray Wyatt, Husky Harris, Mason Ryan,
Otunga.
I think Otunga's on the face card too. So their ability is you overturn 3 cards and your opponent discards 3 cards. At the end of your turn, they draw a card, and then they would draw for their turn. Their chain cards are not considered chain, which is necessary for them.
Yeah.
But just that, like, say they start with an 11-card hand size. I'm playing Distractingly Divalicious in my pre-match. They're losing 6 cards with a gain back of 2, but it's like a random 2, so it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
And
it's at the start of their turn, so technically, next turn for you could just overturn 3 and make them discard the 2 cards that they have if they didn't play them.
Well, it got down to a point where, like, my 3rd, 4th turn, I'm like, they're having 1 card in hand after I use my ability for the, like, 3rd or 4th time. It's just bananas. So thanks to the Discord, I put in the Iowa venue. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a heat venue. When it's in your ring area, other pre-match card effects can't shuffle in cards or recover cards. And once a turn, whenever you successfully play a maneuver, you shuffle a card from ringside to Arsenal. So that worked all the time because they had no hand, and I'm throwing like all these blindside tornado strikes were good. I'm forgetting the most important part. The initiation at a new Nexus is a backstage area card. As soon as you drop it with your face card, you remove Backlash deck cards. So there's an option for 3, 6, 9, or 12. So I removed 12. So it gives me a plus 4 card hand size. My opponent's discard effects only allow me to only make me discard 1, but that's forced discard.
Yeah.
So I don't discard 1 for chain. I still discard 2. But like a spit out opponent, I'm discarding 1 card. I start the game, and then when I remove 12 from the game, the first maneuver I play, if it's a printed 0 fortitude, printed 60 or less, your opponent can't respond to it.
Yeah, that's pretty powerful.
So with Tech in a Bottle, I'm searching for Chokehold, the 0 for 6 heal. But honestly, I'm hoping I draw on a shoot, rush, and leg sweep, so then I have the fortitude and the shoot and play for shoot counter. And it just 6 fortitude right away. I mean, you have get the F outs. You have 2 of their 3 specific non-hybrid reversals.
Yeah.
It's just it was gross. So I went 2-1 in round robin. I lost to a Christian deck because he had, I think, 2 cards in hand or 3 cards in hand, and I'm like, I'll just toss a maneuver instead of using my ability. So I throw a blindside tornado strike, and he hits an impaler on me. Next turn hits a move pin. So I'm like, oh man.
So do you think it's worth it to overturn 3 to make your opponent discard 1 or 2 cards?
Yes.
Going forward, yeah.
And especially if I can afford the Arsenal, because it's a really tight like what I fit into the deck. But with that, me like killing their hand, like I find I'm running actions I wouldn't normally, like the like throwback, Iron Will. I can't think of what else I'm running.
You put in flawless executions, right?
Yeah, I did put in 2 of those.
Cover more.
So one game I had 2 in play in the venue, so I was putting 2 on the bottom and shuffling in a card for every time.
Yeah,
so
that's pretty gross. So that negates your ability, basically. So you're making sure that they have no hand all game.
And with that as well, they have a min-match action. It's 0 fortitude, your opponent can't respond to it. And it's an ace that you randomly remove 3 cards in your ringside pile to put a non-reversal card removed from the game into your backlash or hand, whichever one. So I'm getting shoot actions back. But what a big thing I changed is I put ready to fights in. I'm removing those from the game, and then I'm returning those for some like mid-game recursion when they have no hand.
Yeah. Nice.
I decided to go a little handicap match with SummerSlam and Elimination Chamber. Before I was doing Elimination Chamber and Shut Up and Wrestle. But my opponent is like, nah, I don't care about playing pre-match cards. And like the hand size, like the one a turn thing, it wasn't sitting well with me.
I'm not a big fan of Shut Up and Wrestle. I've seen it played 2 or 3 times, and again, I'll play right through it. I'll let you have 7 or 8 cards under it because that's 7 or 8 cards less in your deck, and then it's 7 or 8 turns that you have to wait to get them all back. So I don't think it's that great of a card unless I'm missing something, but my opponent feels the same way, right? They're like, oh, this card looks decent, let's try it out, but then it's like,
what else? Oh, the best wrestler in the world, that CM Punk remake, got this action, My Addiction is Wrestling, where if you overturn it for a card effect, you shuffle all cards overturned for that card effect into your arsenal.
Yeah, so that's really good.
I don't think it happened in any of these games. It happened with a 5th year, where I overturned 5 for 5th year. I overturned that, so I shuffled those 5 cards from 5th year back, plus another 5.
Yeah, that's the worst in Raw Deal, when you overturn 5 cards from 5th year, and they're like the 5 cards that you really want in your deck.
Yeah.
Like, I've played that so many times where late game, you're like, alright, I need to shuffle in some recoveries, I'll spin I had my 5th year, and you overturn like 3 sloppies, and you're like, crap, I need all those back in my deck. So you really only get 1 or 2 other cards. Like, that sucked, but with that, you get that. I'm surprised you didn't run any of the old school wrestling match or old school steel cage match with them instead of handicap match. Because you might not get that boost or need the boost of the mid-match or pre-match. And then, like, a lot of ways to build up your hand during the game are from mid-match cards, like, I can't be reading this right, steel chain shot, and stuff like that.
Well, I'm running steel chain shots in the deck, and I find I've been actually tossing them as maneuvers, because they have no hand, so I'm like, okay, now I have a unique reversal in my ring area.
Yeah.
With the handicap match, though, is a few ideas where it increases my hand, reduces theirs, gives me the +2 pre-match and mid-match, which the mid-match helped out because I'm playing reversals, and then I'm getting flurry of finishers and their specific mid-match. The flurry of finishers is nuts. Like, these guys have 215 fortitude trademarks, dynamic finishers 20, Mason Ryan's is 35, and GTS is 35. Like, but it has that recovery on the handicap match when you reverse a card.
Yeah.
But then I realized in play that it won't work because I have the venue.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so that almost puts up an argument for the old school wrestling match or something, where especially if you're getting 6 fortitude to red wall, then you are forcing them to play a turn, and even if you don't have a move, you have that addiction as wrestling, where if you do spin and overturn 6, you can shuffle them back potentially.
Oh, that's such a good idea. I went up against an old school wrestling match, and it was hilarious because I have Distractingly Divalicious in play, so we both overturned 6 on each of our turns. I'm overturning another 3 for my ability, and how did it work out? He ended up losing because of the stipulation, but I find that's like more times than not the old school player is losing because of the stipulation.
Yeah, I remember it was that way with Inferno Match Throwback, where I would play that and it would end up costing me the game. I think I ran with Sergeant Slaughter once or twice and didn't quite build the deck aggro enough, and it ended up costing me the game.
Other than that with the deck, they were all just about one-sided games. One game I ended up with 128 fortitude. I was playing against Ricky Steamboat, who popped through all these years. He used your writing checks that your mouth can't cash. Yeah. So we shuffled 12 off of that, but it's just I was just like steamrolling. I played against a WrestleMania deck. was the Undertaker legend. Yeah, and it didn't phase me because I had, I think, 15 cards in hand, and like not like just all my overturn stuff, and I still had Tech in a bottle with the chokehold because I drew into the Shoot Russian Leg Sweep.
Oh yeah.
So I drew for my turn, didn't have a move, so I was able to toss that chokehold.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna keep them built, keep working on them. They're like my competitive deck right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I was fortunate enough to have all 3 of my games recorded, so I'll have those up, at least 1 or 2 up to go with the podcast right now when it airs.
Yeah, I was hoping we could have done our podcast together this morning so I could play against it, but I'll face it in the future. And
I'm not taking them apart, and I like the chamber's good, but in this whole event, it didn't affect anyone, so I might add in an old school wrestling match and play around with that.
And again, you don't have to play it every game. Like, you can look at seeing who the opponent is, and maybe the chambers still make sense in some matches where you're facing a really aggro deck. But
yeah, I mean, because like I run into one like the champ is here, and it kind of negates the chamber.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the tournament. It was fun for me. I can't say the same for everyone else. So what's next on the docket, Scott?
Just gonna open my phone here. Went to sleep. We have our card comparison segment. If you want to run through that real quick, we have 3 cards that basically we feel are similar. They are not the only recovery cards in Raw Deal, but they are kind of high-cost, late-game, big recovery cards. So we were comparing Puppies Throwback, which is a 14 Fortitude action. Cannot be played when your opponent's a female. Shuffle 7 cards, up to 7 cards from your opponent's arsenal, and draw 2 cards. Versus Candace Internet Icon. It is a run-in action for 10 Fortitude. Put up to 12 cards from your ringside pile on the bottom of your arsenal. And finally, we're facing those 2 versus, here comes the Cavalry. It's a multi-action, 10 Fortitude unique. Cannot be packed when you can pack the tag team belt or by a stable. You weren't running that in New Nexus, were you?
No, I wasn't.
When your opponent can pack the tag team belts, they discard 2 and overturn 2. And shuffle up to 8 cards from ringside pile of the arsenal and draw up to 2. When your ability has Enforcer in the text, you may also choose a new Enforcer. Do you have a personal preference of the 3?
Well, I was running Puppies and Candace in this deck originally, and I cut all of them. But you had brought up where Puppies is a drawback if the opponent's a female.
Yes, I mean, I was looking through the tournament reports. I'm pretty sure the female, at least one female, has been played at every tournament in the last, 6 months. There's been Bailey, you were working on Sasha, I had Charlotte, Pat had Sable, Ryan Summer Rae, Dave did Summer Rae. So 5 or 6 tournaments in a row that we've had a female, so that's one game that you're not going to be able to play Puppies. That might be the game that you need them. I don't know. And you had Trish as well, right?
Yeah.
That's the big drawback. You can't play it against females.
It's high in Fortitude as well compared to these other 2.
Yeah.
I mean, you're only really you're only adding 5 to your deck because you're drawing 2. Where Candace is 4 Fortitude cheaper and you're recurring 12. Sure, they're on the bottom, but then you could do like a 5th year or a virtual 10th year anniversary, and then you could get the shuffle of it afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, even if you put 12 on the bottom, sometimes you can stack it a bit so that you know what your deck looks like, which I like a bit. Some people do, some people don't. It all depends on what your plan is going forward, but sometimes you can shuffle it and or not shuffle it, depends on what you want to do.
Yeah. What is it? Here Comes the Cavalry. It's all right. It's a multi, so I mean, I think it's going to get stopped more often than a regular action.
It is unique, so it's harder to reverse than the other two, I feel.
But I mean, with a lot of decks running 4 to 5 at least multi-reversals, they're going to be sitting on those once enoughs to hit like a second maneuver you play, like another copy, or they're just going to hold on to it for any surprise multi cards.
Yeah, well, that's our meta, right? Is that a lot of people are playing a lot of multi-reversals because we are pretty aggressive in the multi area.
Yeah.
There's a lot of face decks in our area, so I guess playing by the rules throwback, like I think that makes Candace +5 fortitude because run-ins are +5 fortitude.
Oh yeah. But I mean,
so
with
suddenly it's not cheaper than Puppies.
But with this being an aggressive meta right now, at least in our area, like how hard is it to get 15 fortitude?
Yeah. Okay, I'm looking at playing by the rules. It's only run-in reversals, not run-in action.
Oh, okay.
So it's always 10. I wasn't sure. That's what I was searching and kind of mumbling for the last 3 minutes because I was trying to search that up.
I like Cavalry. It's unique. It's good effects. I mean, you get a draw, and then there's a drawback to your opponent if they meet the criteria. But if I could fit in 3 Candaces, I'm going to go out of my way to do that. Way over Puppies.
For sure, yeah. I'm usually one Here Comes the Cavalry almost in every deck that could legally pack it. And then maybe 1 or 2 Candaces as well, and I rarely run Puppies these days. Just because of the drawback that you can't potentially play it. Candace, there's a potential that you run against a Hell in a Cell and you can't play it, but
you're doing no recovery then in a Hell in a Cell.
Exactly, yeah.
And Candace, I mean, she's run-in, so if you could just pack no DQ if you're more of like a control low fortitude deck and you're getting it at 7.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, even pack the NWO Allegiance, all of your run-ins are -3 fortitude.
There you go.
So you
can make it -6.
So here's your 4 fortitude Candace internet icon.
Man, talk about power creep, eh? 4 fortitude, put 12 on the bottom, whereas you look at that card recover with edge on the picture, shuffle 2, draw 1 for 4 fortitude. I'd rather put 12 on the bottom, thanks.
Yeah, things have changed. Yeah, but I mean, it's going to get hit with like your reach exceeds your grasp. But then it doesn't matter because it goes back to hand, and then you're playing it again anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I mean, there are other recovery cards, obviously, Ready to Fight, and Iron Will are kind of popular in our area, but I think these are the 3 big cards that recover. And another one that's seen an increase in play is Flawless Execution, as we were talking about the 2-dude Nexus deck, because there are a lot of moves being successful these days, so to put 1, 2, or 3 on the bottom, depending on how many have in play, that's really good.
It was in the Ricky Steamboat deck I played against as well.
So we'll see how if that changes up the meta at all. The nice thing about that is in most decks it's a chain action, so you have to discard 2 to reverse it. So it's another hand reducer if they do want to stop it. It's not a chain in New Nexus, but
But I mean, then they're picking, it's like, what am I saving in my hand? Am I saving a don't try this at home? Am I saving action reversals? Am I saving maneuver reversals? Or am I like saving maneuvers?
Yeah.
Like I salivate at the idea, going back to New Nexus, where it's like, oh, get to that 13 card hand size so I can overrated superstar. They lose a random 3. I get 1 fortitude, so then I'm playing at 7 fortitude, which gives me the 3rd Nexus non-hybrid reversal.
And all your managers, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because they're -3 because of the Nexus armband.
Yeah. So that's real nasty.
Yep.
All right, note to self: don't get 13 cards in the hand against Cedarstones.
Well, I was looking at some cards where it's like, okay, how can I build up my opponent's hand size? I didn't end up going the Premier Raw route because I kind of wanted to manipulate that. And calling you out is blank with a shenanigan, so I can't call out an underrated superstar.
No. But
yeah, so
I'm sure there's ways.
Oh,
get people to post in the comment section.
Yeah, how do I increase my opponent's hand? And that was great too. Like a lot of people were chipping in ideas on how to blank Frankie Ho.
Yeah, that was neat.
So I've added Managed by Don Marie that removes an activated card effect to it. And Switcheroo, I mean, that's an obvious one.
Yeah, for sure. No real drawback on that card with calling you out being blank. You kind of just pack it. And, I guess the only thing is that a lot of powerful cards can't be blanked, but if its role is to blank Frankie Takes Home, does the job just fine. So.
And now I just need to find a way to get rid of those Fortitude Surges.
And what deck is that?
Sasha Banks, because she can play setups at 0. So then the idea is just to plunge grapples.
Yeah. Not sure how to get rid of Fortitude Surge other than with Evolution as a Mystery, which obviously she can't pack.
Well, what if it's like the Women's Revolution is a mystery?
Yeah. Photoshop Sasha Banks' head on Randy Orton's body.
Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, they'll believe it.
Yeah.
Other than that, do you have anything else you want to bring up?
I think that's it for me today. I haven't played much Raw Deal in the last 2 weeks because we had a daughter, so I've been trying to keep up with all the chats on the Discord and giving my input there because I can't physically play cards, but we'll be back at it soon enough once everyone recovers from these colds.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I got hit once a month there, December, January, February.
Yeah.
March, I've been fine so far, knock on wood.
That Canadian winter gets us all down.
Oh man, it's like minus 16 at night, and it's like plus 4 during the day.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And then if you're in your car, it's like plus 10.
Yeah.
The sun comes in and doesn't leave.
And then at work, like where I work in the shade, so it's been windy, and it's also minus 10 degrees in the shade compared to when you're sitting in the sunlight.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh, Canada.
Alright. Well, I want to do a little shameless plug here for something non-Raw Deal related. I don't know if subscribers to my YouTube channel where the podcast is hosted, but I've started up a little interview series with wrestlers called Ring Post Gaming.
Mm-hmm.
And it's talking with wrestlers about video games because I don't know about you growing up. I mean, well, you and I accidentally found out we were both wrestling fans in high school.
Yeah.
And then same with like kind of gaming wasn't exactly a real popular thing. You were kind of not an outcast, but it wasn't like the cool thing to do. But now in like 2018, both video games and wrestling have become like a social norm for the most part.
Video gaming is like almost the next biggest spectator sport or something. There's like prize pots of $10,000. Like,
yeah, well, I went to it's over by the Toronto airport. There's a big convention called EGLX, and it was just a big gaming expo. And man, they had like 100-foot screen set up with live commentary for Super Smash Brothers, for Hearthstone, and like these guys are playing for upwards of $25,000 pots.
Yeah.
So I was able to interview some of the kind of the more notable fighting game guys like Justin Wong and K-Brad about wrestling, because it's they're like kind of one in the same, right? Where it's oh, hi Elliot.
He just came downstairs and said hello.
So yeah, like take a look at that on the YouTube. I have about 6 or 7 up now with like Ontario wrestlers, and Joe Hendry was in town a few months ago, so I got to talk to him about some games because he's an avid streamer. I'm heading to Smash Wrestling, and I have a few more interviews lined up with Jeff Riddle and Jeff Cobb, who was I haven't watched Lucha Underground in so long. Who is the Booker's kind of muscle guy in Lucha? He's in like season 2.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
but Jeff Cobb was him, and he's a nice guy. I got to talk some games with him in January, and he's actually worked on the WWE 2K games as like a motion capture performer.
Yeah,
so
it's like Monster Cordo or something like that.
Yeah,
I forget his name.
And Matt Riddle, he's actually WrestleMania weekend. He's wrestling 9 matches in something like 3 days.
That's insane.
Yeah, and that's
Evan Bourne, right?
No, Matt Riddle is a former UFC fighter. He went 4-0, and then they kind of cut him loose. I don't know the details to that, but he's got this whole like kind of surfer bro kind of attitude. But man, like the guy is like jacked. He's huge. Well, not like there's another wrestler I'm thinking of. Not like gigantic, but he's pound for pound for his size. He's super strong, and big gamer, big Twitch streamer and everything. So
cool.
Lined up with him and Kevin Bennett and a few more, but that'll be cool.
Nice. You can catch up through your YouTube channel or Ring Post Gaming.
Just look up YouTube. Yeah, look up Ring Post Gaming on YouTube or Twitter. I don't have a Facebook group or anything for it. But yeah, I'm the only thing on there, and I can't believe no one had this idea, but I had a logo done up of a wrestling ring with controllers sitting out of it, so it's like a console, and it's like I Google searched extensively to see if anyone else had it, and no one did.
And no one did, yeah.
So it's
and you did a few interviews by a Ring Post, I noticed, which was kind of funny.
Yeah,
whether that was on purpose or not.
It is on purpose. It's hard to do during before the show and after the show. Just because you're doing setup, or you have the wrestlers are kind of stretching and getting their workouts in.
Yeah.
You don't exactly want to be showing off that stuff. But yeah, it's neat. It's cool to hear what everyone's playing and what kind of games they've enjoyed and where those conversations spin off into.
Yeah.
And I've had one thing, I posted on Reddit, and I had one guy comment where it's like, oh, so it's pretty much up, down, down. But I'm like, well, I don't feel it is, because we're not playing games, but I mean that's something that I'm going to start doing with wrestlers. But they focus on WWE wrestlers. They don't have any of these independent guys, and you don't I don't watch up, down, down really. I'll watch clips here and there if it's for a relevant game like Injustice 2 or something like that. But I want to you're hearing what these guys play on their time off, because they have full-time jobs if they're not the full-time wrestlers, and they have their families. So what do they have time for?
Very cool.
All right, so we'll wrap it, because I'm just going to keep talking about this. So
yeah. Alrighty.
All right, set us off, Scott.
Our next show will be this Toronto on Thursday. We'll sort that out, but until then, keep on raw dealing, and we'll see you at episode 14.
Bye.
Bye.